It's been 3 months since I've started my journey through the abnormality room, going through multiple abnormalities once for every 2 weeks, leaving my past behind of hoivers and wuthering waves. For now at least, I might come back and talk more on these two, and oh boy, what happened in HSR? Jesus. But now, I'm where I feel good in. I feel nice, but there's one person whom I noticed multiple times in my comment section of those videos and posts, recommending me certain abnormalities from time to time. I have reached 1K in just over a year. Maybe I will do what is necessary and give rewards for said achievement, I guess. Now, did I intentionally not do this specific video before because I knew it would lead to the situation that you'd see in plenty other videos of ignoring the commenter that wants something and comments about it day by day until the right time because it would make for a cool compilation at the beginning of a video? Yes. But ignoring that, yeah. Hi, Mr. I have 1,000 subs to my name here, and welcome back to the Abnormality Room. First of all, and truthfully, though, thank you all for 1K subs. I knew that I'd reach it someday, but definitely not this early. Like, I went to bed with 970 subs, and then woke up with 1.01K, and as of recording, it's now at 1.1K. So, that's something very cool to see. Anyways, yeah, thank you all so much for that. So, in this video, we are talking about the abnormalities that a certain commenter has day by day ever since I started this whole thing, which are the two teddy bears, Happy Teddy Bear and the Hurting Teddy Bear. Very specific abnormalities, but are definitely an interesting bunch to talk about. Like, okay, side tangent, I had this big white bear in my childhood when I was around 3 to 5 years old, and it was given to me by a family member, right? I used to love that bear, but now I don't have it anymore since I lost it, maybe since, I don't know, 2021. So the abnormalities being the topic today is kind of nice to talk about, I guess. So what would happen if that bear had a consciousness? Well, let's find out and start off with a more happier looking-ish bear. Happy Teddy Bear, otherwise known as T-04-06, is a HE level abnormality based off of Elcor's rankings, whose lore is kinda sad. You ever had a toy like, I don't know, a teddy bear or whatever inanimate object you played with as a child and you cared for it and played with it? You had fun with it. But now you are an adult and a gacha gamer, working a job and don't have time to play with toys anymore. Well, imagine now how your toys / inanimate objects would feel if they ever had things like emotions or thoughts. They'd feel pretty sad, don't you think? But unlike in Toy Story when Andy grows up and leaves behind his toys, and the toys say goodbye to him, the Happy Teddy Bear isn't very happy and is instead pretty depressed. It became very depressed to the point that it became an abnormality and grown a bit bigger than what it used to be, and wants to make sure that their next owner will not leave it behind anymore. Now, it will hug you so tightly that you will either choke to death or your bones are crushed. Essentially, the lore of this teddy bear is that a girl, when she was younger, was gifted a teddy bear, and she loved it and took care of it until she grew up. And unlike Andy, who gifted the toys to another child to play with, she left the teddy bear behind, under a dresser. Essentially, this thing is abandonment issues manifested, not wanting to leave the people it loves behind out of fear that they will leave it behind as well, which is displayed quite well in Lobotomy Corporation, where after an employee enters its chambers for a second time, the teddy bear hugs the employee until they die. In the story observation, there was one such incident where the employee, who was mostly in charge of it, was in a coma for 8 hours in the teddy bear's embrace, since the employee was developing emotions for it and felt a sense of responsibility, since apparently the employee had a past similar to the girl, even telling they will never leave the bear behind. As a trauma abnormality, it doesn't trust them at all. So, oh well. In LabCorp, that's really all there is to say about the bear. But we have to quickly mention Library of Ruina. So in Library of Ruina, we are also told of how it feels, which is very innocent. It wants love and hugs and doesn't want to feel abandoned, and more torn than it already is, which is kind of sad. Also, the background is very fitting of a ruined playground, which is cool, and also fitting for its ego to be called the Forgotten, so that's something. Now, if someone really cared for this teddy bear, someone would patch it up now. Like, it can be a very quick fix if you know how to knot, or something something like that, I don't know. Now, the one thing that Naughton can't fix are having nails protruding all over the body of a toy. And speaking of nails, T-04-16-02 or Hurting Teddy Bear is a tat-tree version of Happy Teddy Bear, where unlike the happy and torn teddy bear, this one is abused and nailed to the point that the toy bleeds, which are a telling sign of all the time it spent in pain. Hell, even its eyes are gone, since there are signs that they were removed with the blood in its eyes. But despite all the abuse and nailing, Hurting Teddy Bear still wants to love their owner, which is kind of sad if we think about it. Like, as a toy, and a wind-up one at that, it is made for the usage of playing and loving a child. But if abused and hurt multiple times by said child, they feel like they don't have the obligation to leave them or fight back, you know, since it wants to love their owner despite that fact, which is kind of sad. Also, the concept of nails is very cool as a usage for abuse. Nails, when stabbed multiple times, can feel terrible. Don Quixote sure knows that, especially when in the heart. But nails are also used to pin something down, so the usage of nails to heart and pinning someone down to abuse someone endlessly without them leaving is kinda rad if I'm a be real. Like the Encore Inquisition, despite them being a somewhat boring section of Encore if you ask me, as of right now, Nagalund Hammer is a cool as fuck concept, so once Canto 10 drops, I better expect some cool shit from it. Now, let's move on to the ego. Faust, Sinclair, and Rogian. All of them seem to have something to do with abuse, yet loving the abuser, huh? I mean, logically, Sinclair's is the most obvious one with Cromer. Cromer wanted to pierce Sinclair's heart and manipulated him, but Sinclair still was mostly mixed with Cromer because he hates prosthetics and found someone who hates him as well. So much in fact that she started a cult, but he also hates her for killing his robot family, which understandable. I'd also hate the person who killed my family as well, but for Sinclair it's very mixed in terms of things like Cromer and abuse. Rogian's is a little bit more complicated, but still quite simple if you think about it. Hell, it's kind of cool actually, since Rogian's ego is puppeteering the tiny bear, and when corroded, the big bear controls Rogian. Definitely one of the more cooler and unique ego designs by far. But why is that design used? Well, I'd say it would be her relationship with Sonya. Does anyone even remember this dude? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, in short, Sonya is the big bear who Rogian believes he manipulated her during her time with the Eurodivia, and the small bear is, I don't know, the tax lady, maybe, or something that at least represents her control of her life, where the ego represents her belief in that fact, while the corrosion represents her distorted belief of being controlled and abused, which is fit into the outer malady, so that's cool, I guess. Now, Faust is a little bit more complicated than the other two. Well, most of her ego is complicated to digest, but that's a different topic. So anyways, Faust, was she abused? Maybe, if what we see in the Warp Express can be taken in. Maybe used a lot by the Gesellschaft. But this seemed a little too simple. Maybe there's something that... Oh. If you know anything about Goetz Faust, then let's just say that in the book, Faust had a girlfriend who had a child, but because of certain reasons, she had a miscarriage. Which is why there's a theory that Faust that we know is not Faust, but rather the character Gretchen. Which could be plausible, but we'll need more info on that as time goes on, so yeah. Also, Faust having the box of cookies as something to represent her child is insane. Also, this could suggest that maybe, potentially, that the toy appearance is just a disguise. Like for Happy Teddy Bear, for example. Maybe it's not just a toy gifted to a child, but rather a husband manipulated by the woman so much that he has abandonment issues and doesn't want to be abandoned and left behind by the person they love. Or even a hurting teddy bear as a way to show an abusive relationship, which has something to do with nails for some reason, other than pinning him down, which is actually fucking crazy. Like, anyways, if you were to say which of the two I love more, I'd say it would be the hurting teddy bear. Mostly because I much prefer the more rad design and abuse than abandonment. Oh god, that's so going to be clipped out of context, isn't it? Anyways, before we leave, I kind of want to say thanks again for the 1k subs. Truly appreciated it for the third time. Yeah, so Canto 8 is coming soon, delayed by Middle Sinclair, which, first of all, fucking huh, and second of all, hopefully not too many delays happen, maybe. Anyways, short video because of the abnormalities, but oh well. So, bye. Hi there, Editing Crow here. Since the April Fool's event came out, there was a new character added to the pool of bears, so might as well talk about them, shall we? Hona is Charon Virgilius's favorite plush, and a red weapon of mass destruction made out of 7% cotton fiber, 3% synthetic fiber, and 90% cotton wool. But despite those materials, the stitch marks indicate that it has serious combat experience, and Komi won't stand to have no candy, where every time a person gets hit by it, candy pops out. And you get targeted more by Charon Virgilius because Kona wants candy. Yes, candy! But seriously though, god, that event was so peak. Anyways, cute Faust and embarrassed Dawn are so fucking cute, and Honolulu Yoshu should not exist. Anyways, I'm out. Get hit by the bus, bitch.